So, you found mealybugs on your plant. I'm sorry. Guess what? I've got them too. But maybe you're here just to learn what to do in case you do see them, so that you know what to look out for and what to do before it gets out of control. No matter where you're at, this video is for you. This video is going to go through the different phases, I would say, of what you can do to get rid of the mealybugs. Mealybugs are tiny white little bugs that look like fuzz on the leaves of plants. And they love to hide in the nooks and crannies, which my Moon Cactus, of course, they would love that because there's so many nooks and crannies for it to hide around in here. Oh, so that's no fun. If you're here because you want to be prepared for when you see mealybugs and just know what to do when you come across them, I say when because it's going to happen. It's not if, but when that pest will come into your life as a plant parent. It's just going to happen. That's my biggest answer for people who ask, well, what can I do to prevent pests? You can do things to prevent pests, sure. A lot of routine care and maintenance, but you can't really prevent them from showing up. The pests love their natural habitat. They love the environment that you are creating in the plant, and they're going to find the plant. Don't let that scare you from owning plants, because the pests that you can find are not harmful. Mealybugs are not going to hurt you. They're just a nuisance to have on your plants. Mealybugs like to latch on and they suck out the nutrients of the plant. So sometimes they'll leave a sappy substance around them because they are literally exuding sap as they eat. So I can see on this plant, there is like some sappy spots from that. So here are the phases for getting rid of mealybugs. Phase 1 is going to be catching them before it gets out of control. And when you do that, there's a specific thing that you can do to get rid of just a couple of mealybugs instead of having to treat the whole plant. And I have already gone through the first couple of phases for this plant. I've been dealing with these mealybugs for at least a year, and it's hard because I have to be consistent. You're going to have to be consistent with getting rid of the mealybugs. It's not going to take one and done. It's not going to be one treatment and then they're gone, because you never know if they're like tiny little eggs or there's some that you missed and they'll come back, they'll grow. I've learned recently that some mealybugs can actually be microscopic. You can see a lot of the fuzz and the big mealybugs, but then they can be really, really small and hard to see with the naked eye. I say this all to help you realize that when you see a couple of mealybugs, you want to get a hold of it right away. This video is going to help you with knowing what to look out for, the signs of mealybugs, so that you can get on top of it before you have to treat the whole thing. You really want to prevent the spread of mealybugs to your other plants. So step 1, if you find the mealybugs, is yes, treat it, but quarantine your plant. You want to keep it away from the other plants because the mealybugs will spread and then you'll have more problems on your hands. So I've been doing that. I've been keeping this in my guest room for a while on a different shelf. And now I have more plants that I've added to that room, and I just have this terrible fear that they'll just crawl all the way across the room. Even though you can't see them crawl, but if they're microscopic, I don't know. How do they get around? I have this fear that they're gonna get all of my beautiful new plants on the other side of the room. So it's been overdue to treat this. A couple of months ago, I did this step that I'm about to show you for phase 1. You can take isopropyl alcohol, you can dab the alcohol on the mealybugs with a Q-tip, and it's gonna dissolve and kill them instantly. That's the easiest treatment. I've already done that step before and they came back. I think the chances of them coming back were higher with this plant because there's so many good spots for them to hide. Now that I've been like handling this pot, I'm gonna go wash my hands because mealybugs give me the ick. But they are not harmful, they're not gonna harm you. But I am about to put on some gloves so that I can be prepared and lower my chances of possibly spreading them with my hands. If it brings me some peace as I do this, then so be it. Safety first. Just kidding, this is unnecessary. So what you're gonna do is get some isopropyl alcohol a Q-tip, dab that Q-tip and get it wet, nice and soaking wet, and you're gonna just dab it right on the plant. I have 91% isopropyl alcohol. I'm not gonna be the one to say if it really matters the percentage, but just, yeah, I would say about 90%. All right, I'm gonna bring you over here so you can have a close-up of how I do this. I'm literally just going to dab right on and see the magic happen. So look at that good big mealybug right there. They're kind of like sticky and webby, but it's gone. So I'm going to do that to the big spots and hope that I can get rid of them. I'll squirt just a little bit more on the Q-tip. Die, mealybugs, die. Oh, it's so crazy how out of control it got. There's so much. And you can kind of see these parts have actually shriveled and lost some of their yellow color. While I'm doing this, let me give you some fun facts about Moon Cactus. A moon cactus is actually two plants fused together. Crazy! I don't know why someone decided to do that. I think it looks cool, hence the reason I own some. I'm not sure who had the idea or where these yellow cacti come from, but they're literally fused on top, but it's a symbiotic relationship. So if the yellow part dies, it is not growing back because it's its own plant. So I'm hoping that I can treat it now before it gets worse. We'll see. We'll test my luck with this. I'm going to do another form of treatment, so I'm only doing this part really just to show you. Oh look, there's a good big one right here. You can see they kind of turn brown, but that's the sign that they're dying and dissolving off. I think that's a good start. Yuck. Phase 1 is tackling the mealybugs when you first see them and quarantining your plant. Then you can wait a while. You don't have to do these all at once. I'm doing it all at once for the sake of the video and the fact that I know this plant has gotten out of control and I need to move on to the next thing. Phase 2. If phase 1 did not work for you, if you see them coming back after a week or two, here's another thing you can try. This is a spray bottle of isopropyl alcohol. So literally just this put in here. I actually use this, you may have seen it before, when I clean my pruning shears. I use this to sanitize. I also will sometimes spray it for things in my garden. You don't want to use a lot of this because there's the chance, since it's alcohol and touches the leaves, sunlight could possibly burn the leaves. So be careful of that. If you do this step, try not to keep it in direct sunlight or else you could have some leaf burn and that'd be sad. The same goes for insecticidal soap. So if you don't want to use isopropyl alcohol, that's fine. You can find insecticidal soap at a store pretty much anywhere. There's lots of different kinds. This one is just a homemade one because I had the ingredients on hand and it was easier for me to just make my own bottle. So this is neem oil cast iron soap. The peppermint scent will help deter pests and it's diluted in water. That's literally all I have in this. So you can make your own insecticidal soap. I've done it in a different video if that's a route you want to go. But for the sake of mealybugs, the best thing to get rid of them is the isopropyl alcohol, like I already mentioned. So I'm going to spray this. If your mealybugs are infesting this plant and spreading to lots of different nooks and crannies like happened to me, just spray it. I'm just gonna let it drip through all the little crevices and corners. Just a spritz, trying to get in every little corner, every side. If you have a plant that has leaves, spray underneath the leaves. But like I said, avoid sunlight. Maybe put it in a dark corner for a few hours till it completely dries. Just gonna let that sit and soak. It should dissolve everything. Something I do need to mention, if you're not sure how sensitive your plant is to any of these treatments, I suggest starting with a small area. Plants should be able to handle it, but if you're a little nervous, you can even do a little bit more diluted than I did. You can do 60 to 70%. This is hydrogen peroxide. I meant this thing. 60 to 70% isopropyl alcohol. This is 91%. You can add a little bit of water to dilute it. And if you're using this as a spray, I would suggest diluting it. I didn't this time because I feel like this cactus is going to be pretty hardy. But if you have a plant that you're worried may be a little bit more sensitive, dilute the alcohol before you spray. That was the tip I forgot to mention earlier and wanted to include. Summary on phase 2 is spraying with isopropyl alcohol, giving it more of a soak, or you can use insecticidal soap. So instead of using just the Q-tip, you're moving up to spraying and getting more of the plant. Mealybugs are very ruthless at times. So you may have to go up to phase 3, and that is what I am about to do, is a repot. Because guess what? I found out that mealybugs can even hide in the soil. Who knew? So if both of those things did not work for you, maybe you gave it a couple of weeks or so and you see them come back and you're like, no. First of all, I am sorry. Second of all, here's what you're gonna have to do. I took my gloves off and forgot to put them back on, but I want them for this because I'm about to touch everything. And they're just gross. I'm just a little bit bothered that I am seeing them because it's the fear that they could get to bigger and more precious plants. I like this one, but you know, it's not as rare as other things I have. Okay, this is just a tray that I'm going to use to do my repotting. And I have not repotted this plant in, I think since I got it, oh wow, it's still kind of moist in here. It's not completely dried. But I did water this about a week or so ago. As I was saying, I think it's been about 2 or 3 years since I repotted it. I think I got this plant in 2023. So yeah, and these are very slow growing cacti, so they don't need to be repotted very often. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm taking out all of this soil. You are not going to want to reuse this soil. Hopefully that's a given because as I was saying, the mealybugs can hide in here. So I'm stripping all of this soil away so that I don't risk spreading any of it around. From the naked eye, I don't see signs of mealybugs. I see perlite and I'm like looking at my perlite. I'm like, is that a mealybug? Nah, I don't think so. Still, you never know what could be in here. So I'm gonna take all of this down. Obviously, you don't want to like yank all the roots off, but kind of brush away the soil from the roots. So if you haven't noticed already, these are 2 plants that were planted together. I think their roots were a little bit tangled up there. Okay, so here's one of them. And you can see on a cactus, there really is not much to the root system, which is why I'm trying to be careful. But none of this has roots tangled in it. All right, that's pretty good. Let's work on the next one. All right, I'm not gonna be able to get every little clump of dirt without disrupting the roots too much. This might be about as much as I can do. So I'm gonna set these back in here for a moment as I trash this soil and wash my tray. And I'm also gonna come back, I'll set these back aside and wash the pot because I am curious if this is a little bit of mealybug along the side of this because terracotta is porous. So if they like the soil, they could probably get in this terracotta pot. I washed my tray and my pot with warm water and dish soap. I also washed the saucer. This is totally optional. You may think it's a little excessive, but it can't hurt. I'm going to spray down the pot with alcohol, especially because it's terracotta, and I want to make sure I get any little mealybug eggs or anything that could be going on, even though I probably sufficiently cleaned it. We're just going the extra mile today. Just spread that around, wipe it down, and then call it good. Okay, that's clean. Might as well give this a little spritz as well before we repot. Okay, let's put these babies right back on the tray and clean this up. I forgot to mention another step you could do if you don't feel like repotting. You can try this first. You can do a soil drench with hydrogen peroxide. This is 3% hydrogen peroxide, and you're going to want to dilute it in water. So 1 part hydrogen peroxide to about 4 to 5 parts water. So I have 2 cups of water here, which means 4 half cups go into 2 cups, which means I'm going to put 1/2 cup. Follow my math. I'm going to put 1/2 cup of hydrogen peroxide in the solution. And I don't think this bottle is opened. Do we have an open bottle? Where is it? Okay, 1/2 cup of hydrogen peroxide. I just got too excited to strip that soil down that I forgot about this step. If you would rather do this, this is an option. You'll want to repeat this step about every 7 to 10 days. If it's a small to medium pot. If it's a larger pot, wait about 2 weeks. And you're simply gonna water the soil with this. And what this will do, this solution is going to help kill the eggs of the mealybugs in the soil. So I am using this solution to rinse off my roots here, because I still have a little bit of soil on the roots. So I am going to be doing that. I'm simply gonna dip it, give it a little swirl. It should be okay. We'll see. Honestly, at this point, I'm pulling out all the stops, and if the mealybugs do not die, I don't know what else that can be done. So I hope in your case, all of these options you'll be able to try and have success with. So the reason you'll want to repeat doing the soil drench is in case there are some unhatched eggs that you missed and possibly hatch later. You never know. So repeating it will help to really get rid of them. All right, get that little dip. Got that all the way down to that spot that was touching the soil, I think. All right, next, we are going to get into this soil. I'm gonna clean this up, I'll be right back. I have my tools for repotting here, all washed and ready to go. So now that I dunked everything before I repot, I was looking just barely and saw a couple of mealybugs still there. So I'm just going to do a little bit more alcohol. Drink up, Buttercup. So I'm just gonna dab if there's any other spots where I see mealybugs, because there's so many crevices that they can hide in this plant. Oh, hiding in there too. I'm actually gonna spray some spots I missed. Now that it's not in the soil, I can kind of tilt it around like this and get any other spots I missed. It really can hide in here. Not okay by me. Whew. All right, there we have it. Let's put this in a pot. I'm going to keep the same pot that I have here because by the size of the root ball and the plant, it does not need to go any bigger. So this soil mix that I have is actually, the main base is coco coir. So that's the substrate that I use. I also have some coarse sand. It's more like tiny gravel. We're not talking like grainy sand. We're talking about coarse. And I also have perlite. I have a how-to video of how to make this soil I use for cacti and succulents. I also have a video I filmed of how to repot cacti, also aloe vera. That being said, I'm not going to show all the steps of repotting. I'm gonna breeze through this, but the moral of the story is to make sure you've treated the base like I did, just barely, to make sure that all of the mealybugs, that those are gone. Do that and then pot it up in new soil. Do not reuse the soil, duh, right? Okay. All right, let's get into it. I do have a couple things I'll show you though. I have mycorrhizae inoculant. This is a whole bunch of healthy microbes for plants that will help the roots with transplant shock. And these roots have gone through a lot, just barely. I also have succulent and cacti food. This is slow release fertilizer. So those are the two products you're going to see. I'm going to do a quick time lapse of me repotting and tell you the next thing. It's done. It feels so good to have this repot finished because it's a task I've been needing to do for a while. Let's hope that the mealybugs are no more because it's really a pain to have to deal with. It's more the fear of them getting to my other plants that I'm super stressed about. But hopefully all is well and I caught it, took care of it in time. Well, there you have it. We just finished phase 3, the repot. Now, phase 4, I would say would be routine checkups, like once a week, 1 to 2 weeks, check that there are no more mealybugs. If there are, treat them right away with either of the steps we've mentioned, except you probably don't want to repot again. I'm not going to repot this for a while. By the way, you're going to want to keep your plant quarantined even after all of these phases, after repotting everything, until you see no signs of mealybugs for a few weeks. That means no sappy substances, no little bits of mealybugs anywhere, and then you can move them back to join the party with their other plants. We gotta keep the other ones safe till then. Honestly, if you get to phase 4 and you have treated mealybugs at least 3 times. If you have gone through all of these phases and you still have mealybugs coming back, I'm sorry. I'd say phase 5 is your plant just likes these mealies. Sucks, doesn't it? So you need to have a serious conversation with yourself and your plant. You need to consider, is this a plant that is either sentimental or rare? Is it a plant that you cannot replace easily? Is the plant bringing you any joy whatsoever? Would this plant bring you joy if you felt like the mealybugs were completely gone? Would this plant still give you joy during the process of trying to mitigate the mealies over and over and over again? Those are some serious questions, and you need to have a chat with your plants. And honestly, coming into this video, I had already decided that this plant, having it in that corner and just having in the back of my mind, it is taking up brain space on my back burner that this plant could possibly spread its mealybugs. And I don't want that to happen. And that's something that I have to check up on is, are there any more? Did we get them all? Make sure it's quarantined, all of those things. And after dealing with it for so long, this plant is no longer bringing me joy. And that's sad. It's sad when it gets to that point. But as a plant lover, sometimes you have to still consider what to do when that happens. And when a plant is not bringing you joy, then you've lost the purpose of this hobby and passion is for you, right? Of course, we want to take care of the plants. We want to keep these plants alive. But when you've done all that you can and it's still just not working out, and it's a plant that you could just go buy at the store for a few bucks, throw it away. That's going to be phase 5. I've already decided for me that if this does not work, I've tried everything, and I wanted to record it in this video to show you all of the different ways that I've treated before and different options that you have to treat mealybugs, because it's an important skill for you to know. But if you've tried everything and it still gets to that point, get rid of the plant. And don't give it to your friend. That's just mean. Don't give your friend the mealies too. So this plant will go in the trash if it doesn't work out. This is the last straw. I don't want to break up with it because I've had it for a while and it's really pretty, but it's lost its color either from treating it with isopropyl alcohol so many times, which I doubt it. I think it's mostly from the mealybugs sucking the life literally out of it. Well, hopefully you don't have to get to the phase of trashing your plant, and that all of these steps are going to keep you from that. Because plants are meant to bring us joy. And so do all you can to keep these babies thriving. Well, I think that's all the tips I have. If you have more questions, please put them down below. Let's make it a community to continue to help each other with mealybugs, other pests. If you would like to see different pest videos, leave suggestions as well. Hop in the comments and share any tips you have for dealing with mealybugs or other pests. Also ask questions and we will help each other as a community to solve the plant drama. And if you are new here, welcome. This is Groovy Bloom. I'm Julia, and this is a channel where I share houseplant care tips that I have learned throughout the years of taking care of my plants. And I'm sharing them with you to help you learn. And also, this is a really fun creative outlet for me. So I try not to make these videos very boring. So I like to be my silly self in my videos. This video is definitely on the more educational side, which belongs every now and then. But as always, I like to wrap up my videos with a dance. I like to keep it groovy. If you haven't yet, please subscribe so you don't miss any more planty content coming your way. Also, side note, our wall is a different color. Did anybody notice? Or if you're new here, this is a new color. If you see my earlier videos, you'll notice that it's a light blue. It was more pastel and light, like baby blue than we wanted. It did not look good in our space. So we repainted it. This is beautiful. It is exactly the color we were going for, the sage blue-green. I have a vision for this wall of a shelf and some hanging plants, so that is a project to come someday. Let's get to it then. Keep blooming and stay groovy.